The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to today's webinar with your host, James McDonald.
Well, thank you very much, Andrea. I'd like to start by welcoming our coaching members to Coaching Session 2. And we've got a fantastic topic, as you should all know. What we're going to be talking about is selecting your target market and your unique selling proposition. And we're going to get in depth on all of the various kinds of USPs that you can be implementing right now. And there may be a lot of you that are thinking that a unique selling proposition automatically means a guarantee, maybe the guaranteed sale program. Well, a guarantee is simply one kind of USP. And we're going to show you that, well, number one, there are lots of different guarantees that you can use, but also there are other kinds of USPs that are every bit as effective that you can implement right now. And it doesn't matter if you're brand new to the business, doesn't matter whether you're a veteran of the business, whether you have money or you don't. These USPs can be applied into your business right now. And Craig and I are going to be going into depth and exploring all of those various unique selling propositions on today's call. Now, we're very excited to have you on our webinar here, and we really look forward to your participating in our Q&A session towards the later part of today's webinar. So having said that, again, for those of you that may have just joined us, we're talking about selecting your target market and who it is that we want to attract and how we set ourselves apart by creating a unique selling proposition. Those are our topics for today's webinar. It's going to be a good one. We'll look forward to your participating in the Q&A, and at this time, I'd like to turn the call over to Craig. So Craig, let's get started.
Well, thanks a lot, James. Well said. Today, let's begin with the topic of selecting your target market. You know, if you ask most real estate agents who they're specifically targeting with their marketing, they kind of give you a blank look. They usually say that they're pretty much after anybody and everybody. Well, I want to talk to you about why that's not a good strategy. And it's very important that you do have marketing strategy, that our marketing decisions are based on logic and science versus subjective decisions, which are often the result in financial ruin. And I want you to think about other businesses outside of real estate. Let's take a look at McDonald's, for example. If McDonald's was considering opening a restaurant in your city, they would do some careful research before they made that decision to make sure that the community, that the location could support the restaurant. Well, you know, you and I also have access to similar information called MLS. We are in one of the most documented industries in the world, and we need to start taking advantage of all of this great information that's at our fingertips on MLS. I want to talk to you about how to do that on today's webinar. We also want to look at our own personal situation when it comes to deciding who we're going to target with our marketing. Okay, it's very important for us to understand that we can't be everything to everybody. Okay, you don't have the resources that Coca-Cola has. We can't afford to be everything to everybody, so we have to shrink our marketplace. And you may remember that we did talk about this at this super conference, this idea of shrinking your marketplace. So you need to have an honest look at your present situation and at your resources. For example, let's say that you're fairly new in the real estate business and you don't have a lot of experience and you don't have a lot of money. Well, obviously then, you shouldn't be targeting luxury home sellers. You know, you don't have the credibility and you don't have the money to market their properties. And it would take you perhaps months and months and months to get paid on those transactions. And for most of you, you can't wait that long. If you need to make some now money, that strategy wouldn't make sense at all. Instead, what you should be doing is targeting first-time buyers and sellers. And it shouldn't be a situation where you're just throwing a dart at the wall and saying, okay, who is it that I'm going to target? And although, you know, it would be great if you absolutely loved your target market and eventually you do want to gravitate to people that you really enjoy working with, but right now you might have to do what you need to do, not necessarily what you love to do to make this business work for you. Does that make sense to everybody? Now, most real estate agents let their target market select them. Okay, they don't choose their target market. They let their target market select them. And you know what? I was no different. Let me explain. You see, when I started in real estate 20 years ago, you want to know how I selected my target market? I got my first listing in the London Road area, so that then became my farm area. Now think about it. I could have gotten my first listing anywhere, but because I got my first listing in that particular neighborhood, that became my farm area. And that's the area that I worked for years and years and years. Now, you may say, well, gee, Craig, things worked out pretty well for you, so what's wrong with that approach? Well, face it, I got lucky. But you shouldn't build a business based on luck. A lot of real estate agents do that. They sort of, they get their first listing by mistake, and then that becomes their target market. Okay, that is not a scientific approach. You should be using logic and science when it comes to selecting who you're going to be talking to with your marketing and who you're not going to be talking to. So I'd like to begin by having you write down a couple of notes here. So if you'll grab a pen, I'm going to give you some things to consider when you start to think about who it is that you should be targeting with your marketing, keeping in mind that you can't be everything to everybody. Okay, so please grab your pen. Here's the list that I'd like you to write down. Number one, who should I want to target? Okay, number two, what do they want? Number three, how are you going to give them what they want? How are you going to give that to them? Okay, so who do I want to work with based on your own personal situation and the research that you've done? That's number one. Number two, what do these people want? And number three, how are we going to give them what they want? If you ask most real estate agents who they're trying to target with their marketing efforts, they really don't have a good answer to that. Okay, they'll say to me, well, I'm looking for anybody or everybody in hopes of attracting somebody that wants to buy or sell a house. Okay, and that's not strategy. That's a real problem. When you're trying to be everything to everyone, you're really failing to address the specific needs of anybody. So you see a lot of real estate agents that run ads talking about themselves, or they have generic slogans like, please list with me, I care about your business. And you might fool yourself into thinking that those kinds of statements actually work. But they really don't do a very good job of attracting prospects. Okay, you must understand that if you need to make money right now, you need to be doing very specific things. And the best target, if you need to make cash right away, is to target first-time buyers. Okay, and we have ads to help you attract any type of buyer or seller that you want to work with. But if you need to make money right away, please begin by targeting first-time buyers. Also, you don't need to break the bank running expensive ads to target first-time buyers. You can start by running ads on mediums that either cost you nothing or other very inexpensive mediums. So please write this down. The mediums that I'd like you to begin with to start making money right away, if you don't have a lot of money, start with Google pay-per-click, find inexpensive local newspapers, and run classified and display ads. Okay, these are the mediums. Those are the methods of delivering your marketing message that I'd like you to begin with. Now, I did talk about this at the Super Conference, but let me repeat it. Why first-time buyers? Why are they a great target for those of you that need to make money right away? Because, first of all, first-time buyers are very easy to attract. And obviously, they've got nothing to sell. Also consider that interest rates are historically low. So buying a home in today's market is super affordable. And what I've found is that first-time buyers are also very easy to please. You take them out, you show them 3 or 4 homes, and guess what? Every house you show them is better than that dingy apartment that they're currently renting. And because they don't have a house to sell, you can close these transactions in 30 days and get paid. Because most of these people are on month to month. So you can get paid within a couple of weeks versus working with move-up buyers who already live in a pretty nice home. Think about a move-up buyer that already lives in a pretty nice home. They're going to be very picky because they already live in a pretty nice house. You might have to show them dozens and dozens of homes before they find a home that they want to make an offer on. What that means is it may take months and months and months for you to get paid. And how about this? Even when you find them the perfect home, they still have a house to sell, so your offer must be conditional on the sale of their existing home, which may or may not sell. The difference is between you getting paid in a couple weeks and getting paid months and months down the road, or maybe never. Now, some of you on the webinar here today may feel that, well, this doesn't apply to me, Craig, because I'm already making good money. I'm already doing well. Hey, look, don't ignore this strategy. Even if you're already doing well, this is still a great strategy. I mean, who on our webinar here today doesn't want to make money right away? So you're going to all want to target first-time buyers. Whether you need money like yesterday or whether you're already doing well, first-time buyers represent a great target market, and there's not a lot of competition for first-time buyers. We have some great ads, some great campaigns that'll help you do that. And we're going to talk about the messages that you should be using to attract first-time buyers. But again, the medium that you're going to use, the way you're going to deliver that marketing message to begin with should be through Craigslist because it's free, or in inexpensive newspapers, preferably local newspapers that have free home delivery. So start with the least expensive methods of delivering your marketing message. Now, as far as the messages go, if you want to attract first-time buyers, I would recommend that you run ads like the Fixer-Upper campaign and the Distress Sale campaign and the Must Sell campaign, the ones you see on your screen right now. We've got wonderful campaigns in the marketing library to target first-time buyers. Now, if you're interested in move-up buyers, of course, we have ads as well to attract those move-up buyers, like the Upscale Homes campaign. Some of you might perceive that these campaigns aren't going to work as well for upscale home buyers, and it's not true. We have coaching members from all over the country working in completely different marketplaces, small cities, large cities, rural, it doesn't matter. We have campaigns to help you target any type of buyer or seller that you most want to attract. Okay, we have campaigns for every segment of the marketplace. But I'm specifically talking right now to those of you that need to make money right away. You should now understand what messages you should be running and how to deliver those messages to your selected target market. Next, let's have a conversation with those of you that are already doing well. Okay, for those of you that are already doing well, you don't have this dire need to make cash yesterday. Okay, you're already doing okay. I'd still like you to target first-time buyers because they do represent a great target market, even for those of you that are making good money. But I'd also like you to target move-up buyers. Here are some of the ads that you could run, okay, to attract move-up buyers. You could run the editorial style ads. For example, the 6 trade-up mistakes to avoid when moving to a larger home. Okay, obviously the only prospects that would respond to that campaign are those that already have a house. They're trading up. Or the Save Thousands campaign or the Buyer Traps campaign. All you have to do is go to the marketing library, and you're going to see a wide assortment of campaigns that target both first-time buyers and move-up buyers. And of course, if you're after sellers, let's have a look at the campaigns that we'll recommend to target sellers. The online home evaluation classified ad is an absolute jackpot. Also, the home down the street or area home sales classified ad. That's the ad that says find out what the home down the street sold for. That's another jackpot. Also, test the editorial ads like the costly home seller mistakes or the home inspection mistakes to avoid ad or set price or for sale by owner. 27 tips. I'd recommend that you go to the marketing library and you think about, well, which campaigns are going to do a really good job of targeting the type of buyer and seller that I should be targeting. Okay, again, my recommendation is you have a good look at your personal finances, your present situation, and you do the research on MLS and you look for opportunities. And by personal situation, I'm talking about both your finances and I'm talking about your experience and your credibility that you're going to have with each of these target markets. Okay, for example, if you're a brand new real estate agent, you're targeting first-time buyers. Okay, you may not have a lot of experience, but guess what? Neither does the client. Okay, first-time buyers really don't know what to expect. They've never done this before. However, if you lack experience, it's probably not a great idea to target veteran home buyer and sellers. These are people that have already bought and sold real estate many, many times before. Okay, so that's another good reason for those of you that are rookies in this business to target first-time buyers. All right, the other thing I want to talk about is doing research on MLS. All right, I did a consultation recently with one of our coaching members who wanted to target high-end condominiums. Okay, he wants to work with sellers of high-end condominiums. And the reason he wanted to do this is because he likes condos. He lives in one himself. So this was his geographical farm area, the farm area that he lived in. And like I discussed a few minutes ago, this is a big mistake that a lot of us make. But here's what happened. Once we did the MLS research, what he determined is there wasn't enough turnover. There weren't enough condos selling, even if he got 100% of the market share, which is unlikely, for him to make a good living. All right, so let's not forget to do this research on MLS. Remember, any of us can do this. So before you subjectively decide who you're going to target and who you're not going to target, simply research the MLS. The MLS will tell you where the opportunity is in your marketplace. So for example, if I want to target first-time home buyers in my town, in Newmarket, I could search MLS and I would look for homes that sold last month. I'd search for the homes that sold last month, and I'd identify how many of these homes that sold were first-time buyer homes. So first-time buyer homes in my marketplace might be any home that sold for, let's say, $450,000 or less. How many homes that sold were $450,000 and less? Now, if that's a big chunk of the marketplace, what that tells me is, hey, first-time buyers would be a great target market. Now, obviously with MLS, we can't research buyers, but we can research sales. Okay, we can research the homes that have sold. Obviously, if there's a bunch of homes that have sold for $450,000 and less, what we can then conclude, obviously, is there had to be buyers for those homes. So do we want to target the sellers of those homes, or do we want to target the buyers that are buying those homes? what you do is you go to the marketing library, you pick the ad, and then you test different mediums, different methods of delivering that message to the target market. If you pay attention to the results, you're going to understand within a couple of weeks which of the ads work the best, which of the mediums work the best. And once you determine what works the best, guess what? Then you can continue to do more of that and eliminate anything that's not working well. What you're going to find is within a couple of weeks, you're going to have your marketing on autopilot. You know, that's why we call this automatic marketing. It truly is automatic marketing. You're going to test the different ads, the different campaigns. You're going to determine which ads and which methods of delivering those ads to your intended market work the best, and it's basically rinse and repeat. So I want you to give this some careful consideration. Much like I said earlier, when it comes to opening a McDonald's restaurant, they don't just throw a dart at the map and say, hey, we're going to open a restaurant here. McDonald's does a ton of research on population and trends and traffic before they decide they're going to invest in opening a brand new restaurant. Well, you and I have similar type information right on your MLS. You just need to be smart enough to use it. So there's two things I want you to do. Number one, I want you to take an honest look at your needs, your own financial situation, okay, your own personal situation. And number two, I want you to research MLS. And when you do that, you're going to understand who you should be targeting. Okay, now once you understand who you should be targeting, you're going to go to the marketing library within the coaching site, and you're going to select some ads that you're going to test. I want you to pick messages that would appeal to that piece of the market that you want to target. Now, the only other question is, what is going to be the best way to deliver that marketing message or deliver that ad to your intended piece of the market? So what are you going to do? You're going to test different mediums. I want you to test Craigslist. I want you to test running the ads in the classified section in some of your local papers. I want you to run the ads not in the classified section, but randomly peppered throughout the local paper. We call these display ads. Okay, so you can run the ads in the classified section, under homes for sale, and then outside of the classified section. Those are your least expensive methods to get started with this system, to deliver the message to your intended piece of the market. All right, next let's talk about determining what it is that your prospects want. What motivates this target group of prospects that you're after? Okay, what factors are most important to them? If they're sellers, do they want a quick sale? Do they want top dollar? Are they after the best value, the most attentive service? Do they want the least hassle? How would you find out what your prospects really want? Well, it's actually pretty simple. You ask them. Failing to understand and address what your prospects really want is one of the biggest marketing mistakes that realtors make. Rather than assuming or guessing the answer, you should be asking your prospects directly by researching their needs. And that's why I survey every buyer and seller I work with. And we're going to talk to you later in the coaching program about how to survey them. Okay, stop guessing. Survey them. Use science, use logic, and really determine what's important to them so you can do a great job of addressing their needs. Okay, next let's talk about being specific. We need to be really specific when it comes to target market. For example, targeting buyers breaks into subsets. Okay, targeting buyers breaks into subsets. There's first-time buyers, there's move-up buyers, there's luxury home buyers, there's people that only want to buy rural properties, there's people that only want to buy condominiums. So I want you to look specifically at who you're going to target. And once you've made that decision, then you must determine what it is that your target market really wants. Does that make sense? Let's determine who we ought to be working with, who we should be targeting, and then determine what it is that our target market really wants. And then we're going to give them what they want in a unique way that clearly sets you and I apart. We're going to offer prospects what they want in a unique way so they see us as different and better than our competitors. Now let's take a step back and have a look at your situation. If somebody asks you, hey, what makes you different from all the other real estate agents in town? In other words, why should I choose to buy or sell a home with you versus all the other real estate agents in town? What would you say to them? And it can't be things like, I'm honest, or I work hard, or I really want your business, because of course everyone is saying those things. You need to have a really compelling answer to this very important question. And you need to be able to articulate your answer in 60 seconds or less. What is it that makes you different and better than your competition? If I was selling my house, why would I want to do business with you versus everybody else? Most realtors run around spouting off the same old things. We're going to work hard for you. We're going to do a good job for you. I'm honest. But again, none of this sets you apart because everyone's saying the same old things. Also, I find a lot of real estate agents have a unique selling proposition that they communicate quite effectively during their one-on-one situations, like at a listing presentation. At a listing presentation, many realtors know exactly what to say to set themselves apart from the other real estate agents. However, they don't communicate their USP effectively to the masses in their marketing efforts. Let's say that I met with a seller today, and I know exactly what to say to that seller to set myself apart. And over again, when I meet with sellers to compel them to want to do business with me, I know exactly what to say. Okay, the words that come out of my mouth work. Well, think about this. If you could bottle that message and you could market that through to the masses through advertising, you'd have a great, unique selling proposition. Okay, so how many of you can relate to that? What you say when you're face-to-face with prospects works. Well, why don't you just bottle that? Whatever works in your one-on-one communications should be promoted and advertised to the masses through your advertising. So that would be a pretty good idea, right? To let the rest of the world know about what you do that makes you different and better. Okay, so what is it that you're doing to set yourself apart from all the other realtors? That's the big question, and that's what I want to talk about. It's your USP, your unique selling proposition that tells the world who you are and what you do. Your unique selling proposition clearly and concisely tells prospects what benefit or benefits they're going to derive from doing business with you instead of one of your competitors. Now, most realtors have not given this much thought. So here's some important questions that you might want to ask yourself. What distinguishes your business from your competitors? Do your listings sell faster than average? Do they sell for more money than your competitors? Do your buyers save money when they deal with you? Or do they save time? Do you have a better system to attract customers? Are you more aggressive in your marketing programs and strategies? Do you provide better service? Do you give better guarantees? Do you make it easier for people to do business with you? What is it exactly that makes you different? As you progress through the coaching program, and this might already be the case, you probably look around at what your competitors are doing to promote themselves, and you realize, or you say to yourself, they just don't get it. Because it's true, the average realtor doesn't get it. They don't have a clue about how to differentiate themselves. Everybody's saying the same old bland things, or they're saying nothing at all. Most real estate agents are wasting their money on ineffective ads that produce little or no results. So if we want to be successful, we can't do what everyone else is doing. We need to understand that this self-image advertising that every agent and every company seems to be wasting money on is not something that you can be doing if you want to be successful. And in fact, if you're still engaged in any type of image advertising, if you're still running those kinds of ads, I'm going to urge you right now to stop. Stop wasting your money on ineffective self-image advertising. Instead, let's talk about how to create a compelling, unique selling proposition. And as I get into this topic, I want to just explain to you that I'm not going to suggest that anyone run out after our webinar is over spending a whole bunch of money promoting their USP. Okay, that's not what I'm suggesting. I'm not suggesting that you should run out there and start spending a lot of money promoting your USP. Not yet. Some of you, perhaps are in a financial position where you can do this, but everyone on the call can start to promote your unique selling proposition with the words that come out of your mouth. You see, the words that come out of your mouth don't cost you anything. The misconception is that when I'm talking about setting yourself apart by promoting your USP, automatically everybody assumes I'm talking about running ads. That's what people assume. Craig is saying, well, I need to start spending a lot of money running full-page ads and renting billboards and running television commercials. And although some of you are going to gravitate to that, that's not where you should start. So please understand that generating leads by promoting your unique selling proposition is definitely more expensive, or can be more expensive, than running other types of lead generators. And I've discussed the fact that your less branded advertising is always going to generate you more leads at a much lower cost than branded advertising. Okay, less branded advertising is the most effective and least expensive way to generate leads, bar none. Because prospects want information, but not necessarily do they want to go to a real estate agent to get that information, you'll always find that your less branded advertising generates you more leads at a lower cost than branded advertising. So as soon as you start to promote yourself and your unique selling proposition, understand you're going to generate less leads. You might say, well, why would I want to do that? Well, here's the argument. The argument for advertising your USP is, even though you're going to generate less leads, the leads that you generate are going to be predisposed to working with you because they already know that this information is coming from you, but they also already know what makes you different and better than your competition. Is everybody understanding this? So when you promote your USP, words do matter. I want you to consider the words that come out of your mouth when you're on the telephone with a prospect or when you're at a listing presentation. These words must create the perception amongst your prospects that you are different and better than the competition. And you're going to test different statements, different benefits. You're going to test different things that come out of your mouth, and what you're going to determine is some of them work better than others. So as you start to promote your USP, you're going to be changing the way that prospects in your marketplace think about you. And you'll compel the best prospects to contact you. Most of you on the webinar are not at the point of being able to do what I did when it comes to this kind of ongoing investment. However, for those of you right now that are wasting money on image style advertising, immediately stop. Stop running those types of ads and switch to promoting your USP. All right, to reiterate, the difference between promoting your USP and image advertising is this. You know, image advertising basically says, call me, I'm great. You know, list your home with me. Or I've got all these designations. But there's no benefit with that. And here's the difference. You see, with USP advertising, not only are you creating an awareness of who you are, attached to your identity, is a very specific and tangible benefit. So people don't only know who you are, but they also clearly understand what makes you different and better than your competition. Okay, now for those of you that are struggling for cash right now, how do you do this? Start by promoting your USP verbally. If you don't have the money to spend on newspaper advertising or online advertising, you can begin by promoting your USP with the words that come out of your mouth. When you're talking to prospects on the phone or during your face-to-face communications at a listing appointment or a buyer appointment, begin to test your different USPs. And what you're going to find is some of the words that come out of your mouth work far better than others. Those are the words you're going to continue to use until you find better words. Let's make the assumption that whatever you discover works the best during your one-on-one communications, does it make sense that is likely going to work the best when you start to multiply that message to the masses with your marketing? So if you meet with a seller and you find that a certain message, a certain unique selling proposition works better than all others, there's a very good chance that if you promoted that USP in the newspaper or online, that you'd have a very effective offer. Okay, remember, the most important question that anyone is ever going to ask you, as long as you're a real estate agent, is why should I do business with you versus all other options, including doing nothing or whatever I'm doing now? This is what every prospect you meet with or speak to on the phone is consciously or subconsciously asking themselves. Why should I do business with you above all other options, including doing nothing or whatever I'm doing now? So your unique selling proposition is going to be the essence of your entire business concept. It's the unique advantage that distinguishes your real estate business from all your competitors. Okay, so creating your USP. You might want to write these down. Number one, you need to determine what your customers want. Okay, you have to determine what they want. How can you give it to them if you don't know what they want? Number two, find out which of these needs you can fulfill. And number three, find a way to clearly state to your customers that you're the source to fulfill those needs. Now, I want to share with you 3 different types of USP platforms. Okay, so let me explain to you the difference of these 3 different types of USPs. Now, you may want to use one of these USP platforms. You're probably going to want to use all 3 of them. Let's begin by discussing unique service USPs. Okay, unique service USPs. In my marketplace, I offered unique services or programs. Okay, unique services or programs that other agents didn't offer. This made me stand out. It made me different in the mind of the buyers and sellers because I'm offering something that my competitors were not offering. When you work with a buyer or seller, here's my advice. Don't do the same old things that everyone else is doing. You want to come up with unique programs, unique services that they don't offer. So let me give you some examples. When I would meet with this seller, I would talk about my Sunday tour of homes. This is a unique program that I offer that other agents don't. And I'll explain to you the benefits of the Sunday tour of home in more detail, but I would compare my Sunday tour of homes versus what everyone else was offering at traditional open house. I talked a little bit about this at the Super Conference. The Sunday tour of homes was an amazing listing tool. I also explained to sellers that I was going to promote their home 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, using my special websites and my special recorded hotlines. And then I would go on to explain the benefits of doing this, that 3 times as many prospects, as many buyers will request information on their home when they know they don't have to speak to a real estate agent. And their home will be promoted 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's not how other realtors do it, right? Other agents tell buyers, contact me. I don't do it that way. Why don't I do it that way? Well, I explain this to the seller. I'll get 3 times as many inquiries. Your home will be promoted 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the only prospects that we're going to bring through your home are people that already have the information. They've been somewhat qualified or pre-qualified because at least they have some information on your property. What does every other realtor do? They try to drag anybody and everybody through your property. Okay, so I'm using robots to automatically sift and sort the prospects and really do a good job of pre-qualifying the prospects so I know the best buyers to bring through the seller's home. Now for buyers, I have unique services for them as well. I would tell buyers about a unique buyer profile service. It's a unique service that I offer buyers that my competitors do not, where I offer to send buyers advance notification on any hot new listing that match the home buying criteria, including bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, and distress sales. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Craig, every real estate agent would be willing to email listings to buyers. Yes, that's true, but my program is different. And it's up to all of you to be able to differentiate what you do versus what everyone else does. Have you ever thought about this? Do you realize that what we sell, the houses, will never set you and I apart? It's true, isn't it? In real estate, we all sell the same thing, homes on MLS. Okay, we all sell houses, and they're all in the multiple listing service. And that's a problem, right? To a lot of realtors, they look at that, they go, oh, that's a problem, because they figure, okay, well, I guess we're all the same. What you and I sell is the same. Face it, it's the same. So please understand that what you and I sell will never set us apart. Okay, what you sell will never set you apart. It's how you sell it. It's how you do what you do that will set you apart, not what you sell. So please write this down.
Craig, you know, another interesting point, just to jump in here, talking about the daily emails and the priority access as well as proprietary information that you're offering to buyers, is that these USPs actually overlap and are applicable to both buyers and to sellers in a lot of cases. One of the things that we're going to suggest you do to attract sellers is that you build up an inventory of buyers who are getting your daily emails because they actually become a USP for your sellers.
Absolutely. That's a good point. And let me explain. We call that the buyers in waiting program. So James, if you were the seller and I'm at your home and let's say you were interviewing 2 other realtors, I would show James a printout of the over 300 buyers that I'm currently sending information to on a daily basis. And I would say, James, if you decide to list your home with me, I already have buyers in waiting. They're getting priority email notification of all the new listings that match their criteria. And I would show James the list. I would hand it to him, and I'd watch him looking through this list. And you can imagine this seller leafing through pages and pages of buyers. And, you know, we really do have these buyers that really are looking for specific properties. And the list has the buyers' names, which one of my buyer agents they're working with, how many homes they received last week, 2 weeks ago, and in total. So these buyers that we're working with actually, can you see how they actually become a tool for us to attract sellers? And it works the other way around too. So because I have unique programs in place to generate more buyers, then the fact that I have more buyers also benefits the sellers. So James, you made a very good point. And I would say this to the seller. I would say, James, if you decide to list your home with me tonight, the very first thing that I would do is I would email information on your home out to all the buyers in my database that are looking for a home like yours. And James, you know, it sounds kind of crazy, but it's almost like I've been looking for a buyer for your home before we even met tonight. Now, we may get a match right away. In fact, we may find multiple buyers for your home. Does that work well? You bet it does. Why? Because we know sellers want to list their home with the agent whom they perceive has all the buyers. You know, if I was selling my home, I realize I can just list my home with anybody, but I'd rather not list my home. I don't want to just list my home. I'd prefer to list my home with the realtor who I perceive already has the buyers. Well, that's your job, is to create that perception. So virtually everything you're doing in your marketing to generate buyers or sellers is a unique selling proposition. It's a service that you're providing to your buyers and your sellers. And every bit of this you can use in your presentation. And that's exactly what we're going to show you how to do.
You know, Craig, in marketing, there's an old saying, looking at it here, the more you tell, the more you sell. So if I'm trying to list your home, I'm going to bring a printout of my leads from my Success website control panel. I'm going to bring a printout from the AMS hotline. I'm going to demonstrate my marketing savvy. Here are the buyers that I've generated in the last month. Did any of the other agents you interviewed show you how many buyers they're currently working with? And of course, the answer is no. What they try to do is get them to like them, or they talk about their house, but in no way do they talk about the strategy that they're going to use, because it's very likely that, well, they don't have one.
Yep, good point. Hey, let's move on to the second USP platform. Okay, performance guarantee USPs.
Hey, Craig, before we do, you know, there's a great analogy that you use all the time, and I don't know whether you were going to, but it goes like this, essentially, in regards to your presentation, and you talked about an arsenal or weaponry, and it's kind of like, you know, you start by pulling out a handgun in your presentation, and then you pull out the bazooka, and before you know it, you're rolling the tanks in, and that's really what you can do, isn't it, with when you're armed with these USPs?
Yeah, I guess, James, what you're referring to is in my briefcase, I have many places that I could go during a listing presentation.
Exactly.
Okay, I don't have to use all of the tools, but I'm going to use them in progression. So I may be able to start out with just using a few of the tools, but I know with confidence that I can progress as needed to some of, I guess we could call it my heavy-duty artillery.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, if my unique programs weren't enough to convince James to list his home, I could move up the ladder to USP platform number 2, okay, which are my performance guarantees. You know, I could say to James, well, James, another thing that I do to set myself apart from all the other agents is the fact that I'm accountable to you. I know you've interviewed a couple of other agents, you know, and I'm sure they were great, and I'm sure they told you how much they really wanted your business, and I'm sure they told you they were going to work really, really hard. But I do all those things too. But James, I will also guarantee that if I haven't sold your home in X amount of days, and you can decide what that is, what the X is, whether it's 90 days or whatever, but if I haven't sold your home in 90 days or less, I'll sell it for free. That's how confident I am that I can sell your home at this price. Or I might say this, James, if I haven't sold your home in 90 days, I'll actually pay you $1,000 cash on closing.
Or how about, Craig, if you decide to purchase a home or allow me to represent you in that purchase, and if at any time during the next 12 months you decide you don't like that property for any reason, I'll sell it for free. How's that for a buyer's side guarantee?
Yeah, we have lots of great ones for buyers as well. How about this? James, I know you've interviewed a couple of agents to represent you on the buy end, on the buy side. But James, if you commit to working with me, I guarantee to save you at least $10,000 off the list price of any home that you purchase using my services, or I'll pay you $1,000 cash on closing. Okay, these are examples of performance guarantees. And of course, the biggie that we've talked about at the Super Conference that's made me more money than any of the others is the Guaranteed Sale Program. Now, that's also the program that freaks most of you out because you immediately assume that you're going to get stuck buying a bunch of homes.
Well, it's a straight up program.
It really is. You know, the most immediate thing that you assume is that if you offer the Guaranteed Sale Program, you're going to get stuck buying a bunch of homes. And if you understand the rules, you'll understand that this is absolutely not going to happen as long as you follow the rules that you've set for yourself. Okay, if you understand the program, you have very little risk of this happening. And I'm going to conduct entire webinars on the Guaranteed Sale Program because I want you to understand the program before you immediately eliminate it. I want to help you design your rules and your guidelines. Remember, this is your program, and you can design the rules and conditions. This is a program that can make you a lot of money, especially in today's market. The prospects that are most likely going to respond to the Guaranteed Sale Program are the most motivated sellers. Would you agree with that? The most motivated sellers in the marketplace are going to respond to an ad that says, we'll sell your home, guaranteed, or we'll buy it. The most motivated sellers are the sellers that you want to attract. The people that absolutely must sell now. Now, of course, we're not buying their home or guaranteeing their home at market value. You all understand that, right? There's a buffer. I mean, just like when you buy car insurance. James, you recently bought a car. Now, if you wreck that car, okay, if you smash the car up, the insurance company is probably not going to say, okay, James, we're going to give you 100% of what you paid for the car. They're not going to do that. They're going to build in some kind of discount. And the reason that we all buy car insurance is just in case something happens. Well, consider the guaranteed sale program as a special insurance program that you're offering to your sellers that nobody else is. Now, we can't offer the seller 100% of market value, but clearly what we're offering the seller is far better than what your competitors are offering them, which is nothing. So we can afford to be conservative. You can tell the home seller that owns, let's say the seller owns a home worth $400,000. If you guarantee $360,000, so 10% off of market value, and then you take off your commission because you're not going to pay yourself, so your net offer to the seller would be $339,000. Wouldn't everyone agree that that would be a pretty easy number to beat? If the house is truly worth $400,000, and remember, it's you and I that set the price. That's another condition of the guaranteed sale program is you set the price. You are now going to deduct your guaranteed sale fee, whether that's 5% or 10%, you decide. Then you're not going to pay yourself a commission, so you deduct the commission. Now keep in mind there's also other rules to the guaranteed sale program. Okay, it gets better than this because firstly, they have to move up and buy one of your listings. So let's take somebody that owns a $200,000 home and they move up and they buy one of your $400,000 listings. Now these numbers might not be relevant to you, but it's just easy math. So take somebody who owns a $200,000 home and they're moving up and they're going to buy your $400,000 listing. That means you're going to make about $25,000 in commissions right there on the move up. That $25,000 you're going to get on closing. That could be your down payment. If needed, that could represent your down payment. Now, that would only happen if the $200,000 home didn't sell in 120 days for at least 170. Because that would be my guarantee. On a $200,000 home, I'm going to guarantee $170,000. Now look, I don't expect many of you to run out and start offering the guaranteed sale program immediately, but eventually you're probably going to be attracted to this program because you're going to be hearing from so many of your fellow coaching members that are using it successfully, especially those members that have come through the coaching program before you, people that have been involved in the program for a number of years. Here's the thing. Once you totally understand how it works, that's going to give you the understanding part of the equation. But you also need to gain the confidence to move forward. And you're going to gain that confidence by the information we share with you and by speaking to dozens of our members who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars offering the guaranteed sale program. That's going to give you what I call supreme confidence. And here's what I believe. Really, two things are necessary for you to implement the guaranteed sale program. Number one, you need to know what you're doing. You need to have a good understanding of how it works. And number two, you need to have what I call supreme confidence. You need to have the confidence to act. So performance guarantees are the second platform or the second type of USP that you and I should be offering in our business. Okay, now this brings us to the third and final type of USP. These are called statistical USPs. This is something that all of you can do right now. It doesn't matter whether you're brand new in real estate. I mean, let's take somebody who's brand new in real estate. You sold maybe one home this year. You sold one listing. Maybe that one listing sold for 2% more than the real estate board average. Maybe that one listing you sold for half the market time. Well, those would be good things to talk about in your advertising, or at least in your one-on-one communications with buyers and sellers. So an easy way to set yourself apart is to take your numbers, your statistics, and compare it against MLS. Let's face it, the MLS averages are pretty pathetic. The results that the average realtor gets are pathetic. Now, when you do this research, you're not likely going to shine in all the different areas, but you're only going to talk about the stats that make you look good. So, for example, if your list-to-sales ratio was inferior to MLS, obviously you're not going to talk about that. You might want to talk about your days on the market. Or what about your success ratio? Does everyone know what that means? Your success ratio is the percentage, what percentage of the listings that you take on sell and close. So when I met with a seller, I was able to say, you know, Mr. Seller, do you know that I sold 87% of the homes that I've listed this year? That's something that I would talk about when I met with a seller, because that's an impressive statistic when you compare it to the fact that on MLS, less than 50% of the homes that are listed sell and close. Now, we can do the same thing with buyers. How would we use statistics when we're trying to attract buyers? Let's say that when you do the research, you determine that when you represent a buyer, your buyers only pay 95% of the asking price. Okay, compared to MLS, when you do the research, you realize everyone else's buyers on average are paying 97% of the asking price. Can you see how you could demonstrate to a buyer that on average, you're able to save your buyers 2% versus what other agents are negotiating for their buyers? Okay, now, the last thing I want to do before we take your questions is I want to talk about the importance of backing up all of your claims, backing up everything that you promote with some testimonials. When I'm promoting my guaranteed sale program, when I run an ad that says, your home sold in X amount of time or I'll buy it, can anyone on our webinar here guess what the biggest problem I have to overcome? It's skepticism. The number one trend in the country today is skepticism. So that's the biggest problem I have when I'm promoting the guaranteed sale program. It's skepticism. You know, people think, well, that sounds too good to be true, or, you know, what's the catch? So you and I know that in advance, that we're dealing with a very skeptical consumer. So we have to be prepared for it. We need to use testimonials to back up every claim that we make. When you start to promote your unique programs, your performance guarantees, or your statistical advantages, make sure that you back up every claim that you make with testimonials wherever possible. Now, for those of you that are fairly new in the business, you don't have many clients, I understand that you may not have testimonials. But eventually, as you know, you're involved in this system now, when you do transactions with buyers and sellers, you want to make sure that you get a testimonial wherever possible. Most real estate agents do not do this. Okay, so rule number one is get testimonials. Have a system in place to automatically get testimonials every time you work with a buyer or seller. Now, one more thing I want to mention. Make sure they're good testimonials, not what I call useless or wimpy testimonials. Let me give you an example. What does a wimpy testimonial look like? How about this? Craig was really nice to us. Or, you know, we'd really like to thank Craig for selling our home. It was a great experience. Those are wimpy, useless testimonials.
You know, Craig, really what you're talking about is that the testimonial has to encompass one or more of the three platforms that you've been talking about, one of the three platforms of USPs, either a statistical advantage, a unique service, or program that you offered and was successful, or a performance guarantee. Let me give you an example. How about this one? Because of Craig's guaranteed sale program, we were able to buy the home of our dreams. Or Craig sold our home for 98.8% of our asking price in just 9 days. Really what it is you're offering a USP, but instead of it coming out of your mouth, it's coming out of the mouth of a third party. Obviously means a whole lot more. A good testimonial is a third party promoting your USP.
Exactly. So if I'm promoting my list to sales ratio or my days on the market, I would want to use testimonials from people that say, Craig sold, something like Craig sold my home in 98% of the asking price and he sold it in a week. Or I was listed with 3 other agents for over a year and I switched to Craig Proctor and he sold it for 100% of the asking price in 48 hours. Those are the kind of testimonials you want to use. Testimonials that support the claims that you're making. Now, most real estate agents, they don't even make claims. So make a strong claim and then back your claim up. Support the claim with testimonials that have taken advantage of your USPs. They've taken advantage of these programs that you offer. Now you've got a killer marketing campaign, and people are much more likely to believe what other people have to say about you versus what you say about yourself. It's just the way it is. So if you believe that skepticism is a big problem in our society today, if you understand and accept the fact that the number one thing that you're up against is skepticism, and that the public's perception is that all real estate agents are exactly the same, if you understand that, if you now know exactly what to do to solve that problem. And you understand now how to set yourself apart from the crowd. So let's do this. Let's take some of your questions and let's try to keep the questions pertaining to what we've discussed on our webinar here today on how you should be selecting your target market and your unique selling proposition. Andrea, over to you.
Yes, sir. You can ask your questions in 2 ways. One by audio if you're on the phone or if you have a computer mic, or you can type your question in the chat box, which we already have several parties who have done so.
All right, well, maybe we'll start with some of the chat questions. Ron is asking this question. You mentioned your guaranteed saving for a buyer, where the buyer can save $10,000 off the purchase of their new home. Can you explain? Okay, so what I would recommend that you do is when it comes to buyers and sellers, really for that matter, you want to make the biggest promise you can both make and keep. So if I was to look at all the buyers I did business with here in 2015, and I determined that on average I can save my buyers, say $12,000 off the asking price of any home that they buy using my services, then that would be a pretty safe promise for me to make. However, if I did the research and I determined that on average I only save my buyers $5,000, you might not want to make that promise of a $10,000 savings. Although, if we really think about this offer, what's the worst thing that could happen? Well, the worst thing that would happen is a stranger, a buyer that wouldn't have normally otherwise contacted you does so, and your promise was to save them $10,000 off the asking price. Let's say you only save them $5,000. Now you have to reduce your commission by $1,000 or whatever you promised. So if your average commission is $20,000, you would now make $19,000. So you're making $19,000 because of this ad from a stranger that without the ad or without this offer never would have contacted you in the first place. So I guess we have to look at this and we have to decide, okay, am I really down $1,000 or am I up $19,000? And that's the way I look at it, is even the worst thing that could happen is not really a very bad thing that can happen. Now, we will take your chat questions, and I want to take your audio questions as well. And all you have to do is raise your hand. Andrew, do we have anyone with an audio question at this point?
We don't. No one has raised their hand yet.
Well, don't be shy, folks. That's why we do these
webinars, I'd like to talk to you, and you know, obviously talking to you is even better than just using the chat. So go ahead and do that. All you have to do is raise your hand. Maybe you can just remind everybody how to do that again, Andrea.
Yes, and one of our participants just did it. So there's a little yellow hand icon at the top of your webinar control panel. All you have to do is click it with your mouse or touch it with your finger if you're on a smartphone or a tablet. And then that lets me know that you have a mic or on the telephone and you want to ask a question.
Okay, I'll take Barbara's chat question next while we're waiting for the audio question.
Barbara has actually raised her hand, so if you would like to go to her live, we can.
All right, sure, let's do that.
Barbara Brennan, go ahead.
Hi, Barbara, can you hear me?
Now, I'm not getting any kind of feedback, so that tells me that Barbara probably does not have a working mic on her device.
All right, well, I'll read her chat question here. Barbara was asking, what systems should we have in place for automatically getting testimonials? Okay, so here's what I did. I had a survey, and you folks can find that survey on the coaching site. Maybe you can even pull it up, Andrea, pull up the survey that I would send out to sellers. So as soon as the conditions were removed, say it was conditional on financing or whatever, and my listing is, all the conditions have been waived, it's a firm offer now, I would send out a survey to my seller and buyers, but let's talk about sellers here for a second. And when the surveys came back and they looked fairly positive, then I knew that this was a pretty good prospect or customer client to ask for a testimonial. And so I automated it in the fact that I had a script for my customer service manager. Her name was Tammy. And when these surveys came back and they looked really positive, Tammy would call back my seller and say, look, it appears that you had a pretty positive experience with us, and I wondered if you might be willing to give us a testimonial. And Tammy would sort of guide them as to, you know, what kind of things we'd like them to say. So for example, if they took advantage of our guaranteed sale program or our Sunday tour of homes, or they felt the team concept really helped them get the best results, the testimonial would include some of these unique things that we do. So I talked to you at the Super Conference about the difference between having what I call wimpy testimonials and hard-hitting, specific, meaty testimonials. So you'll find that my testimonials, I use a lot of them. You can't have too many of them, by the way. They wouldn't say things like, well, Craig was a nice guy, or we really like Craig. My testimonials would wrap around one of my USPs. So it might say, you know, because of Craig's guaranteed sale program, we were able to buy the home of our dreams. Or at first we thought it was we were skeptical. We thought it was a gimmick, but Craig's guaranteed sale program really helped us, you know, get into our next home and relieve any stress. Or it might say we were listed with 3 other agents, and then we switched to Craig Proctor and sold our home for 99% of the asking price in 5 days. So those are the kind of testimonials you're looking for. And if you look through the coaching site, you're going to see examples of those kinds of testimonials. Here's the survey that you'll see on your screen right now. And look at the question. Question number 1 says, your weekly feedback from our customer service manager, Tammy Johnson. So a 5 is you thought it was excellent. A 1, you know, not satisfactory at all. So I want to get this feedback because I want to know what kind of job Tammy's doing when she's communicating with my clients. Tammy was my customer service manager, so her job was to call the sellers every single week and give them the feedback as to what we're doing to sell their home, what we're doing to market it and advertise it, and to give the seller the feedback on all the showings that we've had on their property. Question number 2 is, was your agent able to answer the questions? By agent, this means your team member. So usually the seller were working with one of my outside sales agents. Question number 3, how would you rate your agent's level of expertise and professionalism? Anyway, I won't read the whole thing, but you can see it's a pretty good survey, and we learned a lot from it. So this gave us a really good idea as to who we should be contacting to try to get a testimonial. Actually, if you go down to question 6, it says, if there was one thing that we can improve upon, what would that be? And then the next question, question 7, said, what do you feel we excelled at? I like to ask the negative question first, because let's get any negatives out of the way. So if there's one thing that we could have done, if we could have done anything to make this a better experience, what would this be? And then conversely, number 7, what do you feel we excelled at? So you folks are free to, of course, knock off my survey or change it in any way. You'll notice at the end of it, in bold, it says, in appreciation, please find enclosed a free gift certificate for a dinner at La Spiga restaurant. So this sort of created some reciprocity. You can imagine if you were my client and I send you this, congratulations note, thank you, congratulations on the sale of your house, and please take a few minutes to fill in this survey, and in appreciation for taking the time to fill out the survey, I'm buying you a free dinner at this nice Italian restaurant. So we did get quite a few of these surveys back, and it was helpful too. Let me say this, and you might want to think about doing this. When we got a survey back that was really negative, every once in a while we would get them. My team and I, we held office meetings every Monday, and we would analyze that seller. We would think, what did we do to cause this seller to be so upset, or this buyer to be so upset? We would do an autopsy. Why? Because we wanted to try to figure out how we could fix that, whatever happened, so it doesn't ever happen again. And the opposite's true. When we get a testimonial and they're really happy with us, they seem to be a raving fan, we did that same autopsy. What did we do so right in this situation? What did we do that was so amazing for this client to cause them to be so happy? And then how can we program them to send us lots of referrals? So what did we do wrong and what did we do right? So we can tweak the system and keep making it better and better and better. A lot of real estate agents don't survey their clients. For the few agents that do survey their clients and get testimonials, like, they actually don't do anything with the testimonials, and they don't do anything with the positive and negative feedback. I just think that's a big mistake. Okay, let's keep going with the questions here. Jay is asking this. I just started a weekly real estate show. My commercial sucks. I need a great USP commercial. Any suggestion for a very strong, compelling USP for radio ads? Well, Jay, of course, I'm partial to the guaranteed sale program. You might not be ready for that yet. But if you're targeting, I'm not sure whether you're targeting sellers or buyers, but any type of performance guarantee is pretty strong. I mean, you really are setting yourself apart from all the other realtors that run around saying, I'm going to do a great job. You're saying, I'm going to perform as promised, or there's a consequence. And the consequence is money. Money's going from your wallet to the prospect's or the client's wallet. Debbie is asking, what is the best USP to use when dealing with a seller who has already been promised by another agent who is a top agent in the area that her house is worth more than it's actually worth? I know he will list it, beat her up on the price, and then eventually sell it. Okay, so Deborah, what I would use is I would use any of our performance guarantees where we guarantee the price. And if the seller says, well, the other agent said that they could get us a higher price, I would hand a blank copy of that guarantee over to my seller and say, well, here's the thing. I guarantee your home is going to be sold in 30 days, or I guarantee to sell your home for the asking price or more within 30 days, or I'm going to pay you $1,000 or whatever the consequence is. Why don't you take this agreement and see if the other realtor who's telling you they can get you more money than me, see if they'll sign it. And guess what? They won't. Why? Because they know they won't be able to get that price. So these performance guarantees work well to help you win the business, especially when you're up against agents that will overprice the property and try these techniques. There was one realtor that I used to be up against all the time, and it was in that area called Glenway Estates that I talked to you guys about at the Super Conference. This guy would beat me out all the time by just exaggerating the price, and just as Deborah's talking about here, that realtor would win the listing and then grind the seller down with several price reductions. every 30 days the price would drop by 5%, and then the poor seller's home would end up selling for less than what I could have sold it for had we, just listed the home at the right price. So what I did is in my briefcase, I had a little file folder with all this guy's listings. So the next time I go in a listing appointment and they said, yeah, we've interviewed so-and-so, and they said that agent said they could get $20,000 or $30,000 more than you, I'd say, well, let's have a look at some of their sales in the area. Here's a house he reduced 3 times before he got it sold. Here's another one reduced 4 times. Now here's my sales in the area. Sold, within 98% of the original asking price within 7 days. So that's how I combated that situation. If you're up against, a realtor that keeps doing this to you, you can defend yourself by actually telling the truth and showing those results. Okay, the next question is from Linda. Linda says, homes in my target area sold in less than a week and over the listing price. In this case, what would be a strategic USP to use to attract sellers in this market? Okay, Linda, that's easy. You should be using your home guaranteed for 100% of your asking price or more, or I'll pay you the difference. And Andrea, maybe you can go to the ad generator and show Linda and everybody else how easy it is to go to that ad generator, select your target market. Okay, so we want to go down to, we could do market value, that's PS6, but let's go to PS7. If we click on PS7, how about this one right here? Okay, so Linda, imagine your offer being your home sold for 100% of your asking price or more. You could add or more, guaranteed RLP the difference. Now, remember, the condition is the seller has to accept your asking price, your opinion of value. Well, if they list their home at your price, at market value, we know it's going to sell in your marketplace for 100% of that price or more in very short order. If you don't like that one, you could go with X amount of days. Let's show that one to everyone, Andrea. Okay, and that's right at the very top. Your home sold in X days, or I pay you X. And you can customize this. So let's change that to, maybe in Linda's market, it sounds like she's in a real hot seller's market. Let's change that to, 7 days. So how about this, Linda? Your home sold in under 7 days, or I'll pay you $1,000 cash. Now you might say, well, look, I'm in a real high-end area. My sellers aren't going to care about $1,000. Then make it $2,000 or $5,000. Now, what's the condition? You'll get lots of calls about this. The condition is the seller has to list their home at your recommended list price. Well, we all know that in your marketplace, if the seller would actually listen to you, because you know what you're doing, and they would list their home at your price, that house is going to sell in 7 days or less. Okay, or there's a consequence. So Linda says she likes this one. She's going to try it. And that's what this is all about. It's about experimentation. What I want you folks to do is I want you to try the different USPs, determine which one works the best for you. But once you've determined which one works the best, then you probably want to plaster it everywhere. You want to take ownership of that. Okay, like why would you want to advertise the USP message that works the second best or the third best? You wouldn't do that. So you're going to early in the game here, you're going to test a bunch of these different USPs. Let the marketplace tell you which one gets the best response, and then stick with that. You're going to take ownership of that. You know, in my marketplace, there was another agent that started doing the guaranteed sale program. I always kind of thought every time he advertised his guaranteed sale program, in a way, he was advertising me because everybody thought of me. I was sort of the originator of that in my market. Now, I want Andrea to show everybody how we actually have everything ready for you here. You folks probably know that, right? But if we take a look at this USP ad generator again, you've got everything you need. It's a complete campaign, including the ad, and then you've got the special report that's being offered, the hotline script, and we're showing you the branded landing page. So this is my landing page, but it should go to your version of this landing page. Andrew, if you could click on that top ad again, you'll see the offer here. It says your home sold in X amount of days or I'll pay you $1,000 cash. No gimmicks. For information on my exclusive guaranteed sale program, order a free report by calling. And then we have a domain name and then their free recorded message. So you're going to register your own unique URL name. It's going to point to this landing page that we've created for you, but customized for you. And the script is already there. It's been recorded for you. Okay, so we're trying to make it really easy. And prospects can still contact you. It says, or call me direct at the bottom. Maybe you can highlight that, Andrea. So will the best prospects pick up the phone and call you? Yeah, but we have to understand in your marketplace and my marketplace, there's going to be a whole lot more buyers and sellers that are not quite ready to contact a real estate agent yet. And that's why we provide a non-threatening way for prospects to get the information. They can order a free report on how the guaranteed sale program can benefit them by not having to talk to anybody, but going to your domain name or calling into the recorded hotline and entering a 4-digit ID number. So these USP ads have been designed specifically so you get maximum response. All right, let's see if we have any audio questions at this point, Andrea.
Just as a quick reminder, all you have to do is click the hand icon you see on your control panel. Don't be shy. Go ahead and do so now. We have nothing pending.
Boy, this is a shy group. All right, we'll give everyone another chance to do that. We've got a few more chat questions that have come in. Okay, this is from Candace. Candace says, on these ads, under the required ID, do you need to have the name of your company name listed there or just your name and real estate number? Okay, so you're going to have whatever you need in your jurisdiction. So obviously in this ad that's on the screen right now, it's going to have my name, and then below my name, it would have my company name. So it might say Remax Omega. Maybe you could just type that in to show everybody what it looks like, Andrea. So your name, and then Remax Omega was my company name. Okay, and then my designation, I'm a sales rep, not a broker. Okay, and then just make up a real estate license number. Okay, so it would look something like that. Now, if you're not in California, of course, you don't have to have your real estate license number there. So you folks need to be aware of what your disclaimers need to be, but that's how it's going to work. So again, we tried to make it really easy for you guys to take the concept, but be able to customize it specifically for you. Everything's there, including the ad, the hotline scripts, the landing pages, the free reports. Okay, the next question is, should we be sending the USP postcards to our farm areas instead of the less branded postcards that offer a home evaluation or the home down the street? Well, it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. I would say for pure lead generation, I like the less branded approach better, and that's why I send out 20,000 postcards with that online home evaluation on one side and the area home sales report on the other. Andrew, maybe you could just flip over and show everybody the postcard I'm referring to. But that was my #1 lead generator. So you might say, well, what's the argument for using branded advertising? Well, it's really a combination of both. I want you folks to eventually do both, right? I want you to brand yourself with your USP because arguably it will make it easier for you when you're following up with the leads. If the prospects who didn't know they were calling an agent, when you're calling them back and you identify yourself and they know you and they know what makes you different and better, it should make converting the leads a little bit easier. Mark is asking, in the less branded ad, does the picture stay? No, with less branded, you're not going to have your picture. You're not going to have your company logo. We want to have the disclaimer as small as possible. So if you take a look at these postcards, maybe you can blow one up, Andrew, and show everybody how small the disclaimer is. Okay, let's show everybody. Okay, it's on the flip side of that one, so we got to pick another example. I only needed to have the disclosure on one side. And that's it right there. That is small. We can't read it, but I promise you it is there. So it would have, not intended to solicit buyers or sellers under contract. It's going to have your name, your designation, sales rep or broker, your company name, and your real estate license number, but very small. Remember, the rule is your name can't be bigger or more dominant than your company name. So the secret is let's make them as small as we legally can. Okay, Jay is asking this. I'm not afraid of the guaranteed sale program. I have access to plenty of someone else's money. That's the best money, Jay, someone else's. But I need competence, but I need the competence, not the confidence. Is there a great script for it? I'm not seeing one. Hey, Jay, maybe you could raise your hand if you have a computer mic or you're on the telephone. Maybe we could talk about this.
Jay, I've opened your line. Say hello if you can. If you're saying hello, we can't hear you. Just type in the chat box hello so I know that your mic indeed does not work.
Looks like we're going to have to train our new members here on how to use our webinar system here, because I really would, ideally prefer to talk to you folks. But that's going to mean you're going to have to call in on a telephone, or you have to have a computer mic. Okay, Jay says, hang on a second. I'm looking for a mic, he says. Okay. All right, well, let's keep going while we're waiting for Jay to find his mic. Okay.
Greg, one thing we might want to talk about really quickly, I know we're going on the 90-minute mark, is our ad clinic on Friday and the role play session tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, Andrea's right. We have two very important webinars for you. So the first one's tomorrow, Thursday, and that's our role play follow-up webinar, where I'm going to take you through the universal callback script. We're going to talk about how to follow up with the leads, how to handle the most common objections, and most importantly, when you have a qualified buyer or seller on the phone, exactly what to say. What is the ultimate offer to make buyers and sellers to compel them to want to meet with you? And then on Friday, we're asking you to upload your ads so we can take a look at them. We're going to look at sort of the best of the best, and we'll also look at some ads that aren't so great that maybe we can improve. So you're going to see some of our top members get their ads critiqued, and you'll have an opportunity to get yours critiqued as well. But it's first come, first serve. So Andrea, maybe you can quickly remind everybody how they can upload their ads for Friday's ad clinic.
Yes, as you can see on your screen, you're on the coaching member site. You can just go to Resources, click on Ad Clinic. Then you're going to see the Upload My Ads on the right-hand side. You're just going to click Select Ads. And the ad must be in a PNG or JPEG format. We don't take PDFs, but if that's all you have, you can email it to me. I'm Andrea at craigproctor.com, and I'll make sure that your ad gets critiqued.
Okay, I got a question here from Candace. Candace says, I asked Success website to run a Google pay-per-click ad for attracting first-time buyers, so targeting first-time buyers. They told me they don't get good success. That's interesting. They told me that I should run ads for distress sales instead because it has a better turnover ratio. Is this correct? Okay. So Candace, here's what the people at Success website look at. All they look at is which ads generate lots of leads. But as a realtor, that's not what you and I look at. What we look at is what campaigns produce the highest quality leads. I'm sure that if you run a campaign, offering distress sales, you'll get a lot of deal seekers, and I'm not saying they're all bad leads. You'll get some good prospects, but you're going to get a lot of people that aren't. I would be testing the different messages and looking at I wouldn't be focused on necessarily which campaign generated the most number of leads. Ultimately, what we're interested in is what campaign creates the best quality leads, or even more important, the highest return on investment. What I like about first-time buyers is because they don't have a house to sell, we can turn these leads around very quickly. Now, some of you may find when you offer a list of distress sales or bank foreclosures, that the leads are pretty good quality. Some of you may find that they're not. If we were on a fishing expedition, okay, and we had an expert guide, that guide would tell us, you know, like where to go in the lake to catch a certain kind of fish. They would tell us what time of day we should go fishing. Okay, so that's really the opportunity all of you have. The ads are the bait. Okay, so you've got all these different types of baits. Okay, the medium, okay, is the lake. That's like what lake do you want to offer the bait in? So it could be Facebook, it could be Google pay-per-click, it could be print, it could be postcards, it could be newspapers. What we want to be careful of here is do not abdicate the responsibility to lead generation to anyone else. I want you folks to understand it. I don't want to give you the fish. I want to teach you how to fish. Who do you think cares more about your business and your lead generation? You or someone at Success Website or someone at Bold Leads or someone at ZBuyer or someone at, you are the one that cares the most about it. So I think it's a game of testing. I know it is. There are no great marketers. There's only great testers. So you test. And with direct response marketing, you're going to know in very short order, doesn't take weeks, you'll know in a matter of days whether that test worked or not. And you're going to measure one test against another test. And the goal is to find out, okay, what's the best approach? That way, once you figure that out, you just keep doing more of the same, rinse and repeat. Right? So you're going to find the 5 or 6 ads that work the best for you, and you're going to find the 5 or 6 best places to run those ads. Now you're off to the races. Now wouldn't it be great to have that kind of confidence to know that every time you run this certain ad in this medium, you generate 5 leads every day. And then you get 4 or 5 campaigns like that, and you're all set. So go with your gut instinct. Test, test, test. Don't just buy into, okay, well, Success Website said don't try first-time buyers. You try first-time buyers. If it works, you keep doing it. If it doesn't work, you try something else. Okay. Let's go back now and see if Jay can get back in here. Any audio questions at this point, Andrea?
We do have a few that have come in. Jay actually was on, but then I'm showing he has left. I'm going to try his line really quickly.
Well, he's logging in from his cell phone, he said.
Is that what he's doing? Okay.
Yeah, he's going to try to get with his cell phone. Okay, here's one from Simon. Craig, you had mentioned the company Reality for finding the better area to market. If I'm not mistaken, where can I get their info? Okay, so Andrea's going to show you. All you have to do is go to realestatestatistics.com. Let them know you're a Craig Proctor coaching member. They'll verify it, and you'll get the $30 a month deal, which is a really awesome deal. This program's pretty cool. Okay, William is asking this. Hi, Craig. My broker is having heartburn over me promoting your home sold in 90 days or less, or we'll pay you $2,000. What if for any reason the house does not sell? He says that I cannot give the seller $2,000. Well, look, if you read the certificate, and Andrew is going to show you the rules here, it's all in writing. And William, this is what you're going to have the seller sign off on, because we don't want any misunderstandings. There is no reduction of the commission if there's no sale, right? We can't reduce the commission if there's no sale. If there's no sale, there is no commission. So the way this offer works, and it's spelled out clearly in the certificate that you have the seller sign off on, is we promise to sell your home in 90 days or less. Okay, and if we fail to do that, we'll deduct $2,000 from your commission. Okay, that's on the successful sale of your home. If the house doesn't sell, well, there is no commission, so we can't reduce it. Okay, Jay says, I am ready. He's on his cell. Oh, by the way, there it is right there. Can you highlight that, Andrea, please? Okay, so that's what you get the seller to sign off on. Okay, let's go to Jay.
Okay, hold on just one second. Jay, I still show you were logged in as on a mic and computer. what you'll need to do is click the telephone option so I can open up your telephone line. While he does that, I have a lot of other hands raised at this time. Do you want to take a couple of those?
Sure. One more chat question, and then we'll go to the audios. This question is, do you have a recorded demonstration of your listing presentation instead of just the PowerPoint? Yes. In fact, we're going to do an entire webinar on the listing presentation, where just like at the Super Conference, where I walk you through, but in more detail, each slide in the order and why it's in that order, and I talk about exactly how I explain each slide, and I handle any of the objections that you guys hear. Of course, the idea here is if your presentation is really good, you don't get as many objections. Okay, the natural end result of an awesome presentation is the buyer or seller at the end of it. They say, where do I sign? All right, let's go over to Andrea and take some audio questions.
Okay, and Jay, just so you know, I can see you're pushing the telephone option. So go ahead and just enter your PIN code, and then we can open your mic next. We'll go on to Daniel Collins, who has his hand raised. Daniel, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Daniel, congratulations. You are the first person to figure out how to get an audio question answered.
All I did was speak.
Good work. It's really that easy. So what's on your mind today?
Well, I'm the 5-month brand new agent, and I got off the phone today with Success Website, and you're telling us if something doesn't work in 3 to 5 days, change it. And when I asked him, he specifically said, no, it takes 2 weeks at least to figure out if an ad works.
Well, I don't understand why that would be. It's on Facebook. The ad's not going to be there in 2 weeks.
Well, this is Google pay-per-click.
Okay, but why would it take that much time? I mean, either the ad's going to work, people are searching for that, or they're not searching for that. Like, it shouldn't take weeks and weeks, should it?
I've heard Chrissy on a recent call we did with some Platinum members. She did say that Google pay-per-click will take a little bit longer, but I do not believe it was that long as the result.
So if I don't get any leads in 3 to 5 days, I should call them back and say, let's change it.
Yeah, they can change the AdWords. They can play around with it.
Okay.
Look, here's the thing. I want you guys to be persistent with them. No, I'm going to repeat this again. No one cares more about your business than you do. Right? It's easy for them to say, hey, just keep running this ad over and over again. They're not paying for it. You're paying for it.
Okay.
And an ad on Facebook, for example. If you run an ad on Facebook today, and it doesn't work, and you run it tomorrow and it doesn't work, and you run it the next day and it doesn't work, well, how many days do we need to run the ad to determine it doesn't work? The opposite's true as well. You're going to find that when you run something that works, you immediately know it works, and it keeps working. And that's what we need to do is, patience is a virtue, except for now. Okay, I don't want you guys to be as patient. I want you to demand performance, right? So, look, it's figured out. We got to keep testing the different ads. My job is to give you lots of different ads. And hey, I wish it was so easy that I could say for every single one of you, okay, for you in this part of the state, you run this ad, and for you, you run this ad. But you're all going to have to do a little bit of testing to find out, well, what offers do you feel most comfortable with? Who do you feel you'd like to target? So that's the first question, obviously, right, is who do I want to target? And then look at this arsenal of advertising we have for you, and then all the different ways of delivering those messages. But it shouldn't take, like, months to figure this out.
Craig, on the 16th, this group is going to get to watch you in our direct response lead generation, go through all of your testing and the different mediums that you have to go through.
That'll be a really good webinar.
Yeah, that's going to be on December 16th.
Okay, so here's what I did for you guys, what I'm doing for you guys. On December 16th, I'm going to go through all the marketing that I ran in an entire year. You're going to see the exact ads I ran. You're going to see where I ran them. You're going to see what the ad cost, and you're going to see the exact results that I got. And you'll see me doing all kinds of testing until I figured it out. But you'll also see this. Once I had it figured out, once I determined what the best approach would be, I was smart enough just to stick with it. And that's what I think that's what all of you want, right? What you want is certainty in your business. What you don't want is always being sold the next shiny object, right? You want to know, hey, here's 5 things I can do every week that'll guarantee me good buyer and seller leads.
We have Jay ready. He was finally able to enter his code and dial in on his phone.
Well, I'm excited about this now. Jay, are you there?
One more step, Jay. Go ahead and unmute on your end. There should be a red mic button. Just click it. I've unmuted you on our end.
How about that?
Jay, you did it.
My goodness. I'm at my home office.
Hey, Jay, no man gets left behind with the Craig Proctor program.
Hey, I believe you, and that's why I joined, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Good. Thanks for being with us. Cool.
My biggest concern is when you go over all the guaranteed sales and stuff, it sounds logical, it's gimmick free and such, and I'm in the Sacramento area of California, and there's a lot of this kind of stuff going around, and so I want to make sure that if I broadcast it, I fully understand, and it's clearly written for me somewhere, so that when it's in my spirit, I can stand behind it and get some more listings this way.
Correct. Right. So you're going to find next to all the performance guarantees, we give you the rules, these certificates that you need when you meet with the buyer and seller. We want you to understand it and have the confidence to be able to explain the offer, give them the offer in writing. It'll give you confidence. Plus, there'll be no misunderstandings. The last thing you want is a buyer or seller coming back to you weeks down the road saying, "Well, that wasn't my understanding."
Gotcha. And so it's the certificates. That's where it's clearly spelled out. That's what I really need to study and memorize to make sure that I'm comfortable in my skin in it.
Right, and remember, you don't have to be enslaved by my words. Andrea's got one of them on this pulled up on the screen now. You can change these. This is your program, not my program. So I've added all kinds of fields that you can customize. You can see Andrea's playing around with it now. You can customize it. You're going to change, your name to my name. You could have this say 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. The penalty could be $500, $2,000. I want you to feel comfortable with this offer, because if you're not comfortable, you won't be confident.
Gotcha. Okay. I guess that was my biggest question, is where do I find the rules? And I guess the certificate is truly where the rules are.
Yeah, we tried to we've been doing this for a long time.
Sure.
And here's what I believe. If our members aren't successfully doing what I teach, it's my fault because I haven't made it easy enough for you to do it. So that's why I've spent 20 years trying to make it easy, giving you everything you need, from the ad to the landing page to the hotline script to the special report to the certificate. I want to make it really easy for you to copy this and customize it for you.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Yeah, I see it here now. I'll just try to figure out how to make sure that I understand it. Once it's mine, it's mine.
Well, that's the first step. Make sure you've got to be able to understand it before you can explain it to someone else so they understand it.
Correct. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but you're going to love these, Jay. This will set you apart, and when you understand it, you'll be confident, and you'll find that this is exactly what buyers and sellers want. Like when they're interviewing agents, think about this. Do you think this seller wants the decision to be difficult? You know how you followed up with a seller before they've interviewed you and they've interviewed a couple of other realtors, and you follow up and they say, it's a tough decision. We haven't decided who we're going to list with yet. Jay, you were really good, but the other 2 realtors were really good as well. They really don't want that to happen. They want one of the 3 realtors to stand out, to make their decision easy. They want one of the realtors to grab them by the hand and take them to the promised land. That's what we're going to do with this presentation and these performance guarantees. We're going to make it obvious that you're the right choice.
Gotcha. I believe it.
All right. Well, good luck with that, and thanks for figuring out the audio part today.
Too many desks, but I appreciate your patience.
All right. Well, now you know for next time. Okay, Ron says, where are the rules on your coaching page under Ad Generator? Okay, so I think we've covered that. So that's what we have up here now is the certificates. Do we have any other audio questions?
We do. We have Paul May. Your computer mic is open.
Hey, Paul. We can't hear Paul yet, but Paul typed in here that he got a lead in his first hour that his success website is up. That's awesome. So, Paul, I hope you can figure out the audio side of things. Andrew, any advice for Paul?
Just check all the settings. There's a sound check option that most of us have, depending on your device. But really, when we're first getting started, the telephone option is the best when you want to ask questions. We have William Bud Gregg. Your mic is open.
Oh, I beg your pardon. I didn't have a question. Craig, you just answered.
That's too bad, William, because you're one of the few people that figured out how to get their microphone to work here.
Yes, congratulations.
Right. No, you answered the one.
You sure you don't want to just make a question up?
Well, I think my broker hopefully doesn't have any heartburn anymore.
Yeah. Well, look, a lot of this can be solved by just sitting down and talking with your broker about what it is you're trying to accomplish. I find it's usually just a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Remember, for the broker, most of the agents are just running around doing the same thing. The reason you join this program is because you don't want to be like everybody else.
Right.
So what usually fixes things is just sit down with your broker and just explain the idea behind it.
Yeah, I'm going through the certificates and we're putting some marketing stuff together, and I'm changing them with our information, obviously, and customizing them for what we're doing. And there was just a little bit of a gray area there about what happens if the property does not sell at all. And in our state, I think it's pretty much every state, you cannot give a client money. So.
Well, no, there's no commission. This is a reduction of a commission. It's not like you're handing them a check. It's a reduction of the commission. If it doesn't sell, well, there's no commission. You can't reduce zero.
You didn't like the word cash in there. So.
Yeah, well, then you know what? Massage it so your broker. Like again, you don't have to be enslaved by my wording. These are just ideas. I'm just saying this is what I did. So you can work with your broker and figure out something that makes him or her happy. But as long as they're on board with the concept. You see, I believe this is a lot more ethical than what the other realtors in your marketplace are offering. Here's what they do. They say, your competitors, right now they're saying this: I'm a great realtor, okay? I'm the best in the area. I will sell your home faster than anyone else. I'll provide you the best service. I have lots of integrity and experience, and you should list with me. And when the house doesn't sell, it expires. Okay?
Right.
So
yeah.
They talk a lot about how great they are, but what's the consequence if all that stuff doesn't happen? The seller's left holding the bag. You
Right.
come along and you say, look, here's how this works. Rather than just me talking about how great I am, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. Okay? Unlike any other realtor, I am going to guarantee that I sell your home in 60 days or less. Okay? Or I'll reduce my commission by $1,000.
Right. No, I love it.
It's much more, yeah, I think it's much more professional. There's an actual consequence instead of, well, I guess I just lied to you, Mr. Seller, because your house didn't sell. And that's too bad that you got stuck owning 2 homes.
Right.
Yep.
No, I like it a lot. We're fired up.
All right. Well, thanks for being with us. Let's see if there's any other audio questions. While Andrew is looking for that, we have a chat question by Robert. Robert says, I suggest he let his broker know the $1,000 will come out of his side, so his broker will get over it. Well, yeah, your broker might be concerned about that they're giving this is going to come out of his side or her side. But the idea here is, if you were to sell twice as much real estate because you offered a performance guarantee and you were able to successfully set yourself apart, wouldn't your broker make even more money? So they really should be a partner. They should, again, I think it's just a matter of them really understanding the big picture here of what you're trying to accomplish. Andrea, any final audio questions?
We do. Akina Izud, your mic is now open.
Yes, hello?
Hello, how you doing?
Good. Hi, Craig.
How you doing?
Good. I just have a question. I already have my toll-free number and everything all set up. Now I'm kind of I'm trying to decide whether should I do the classified to generate a set of listings, or should I do the postcards?
Well, you know my answer is going to be test both, because it doesn't matter what I think is going to work best. All that matters is what the marketplace says, right?
Yeah. I mean, because right now, I mean, I only have a budget, just for one. So I wanted to know, like, which would you recommend to do first?
Okay, well, who do you want to target?
I want to target sellers.
Sellers, okay. So can I give you a couple of inexpensive ideas?
Sure.
Have you got a local paper that has free home delivery?
I haven't researched on that yet. I just called the I've gotten in touch with the local paper.
Okay, well let me show you what to do here. If you want to run a couple really inexpensive print ads, Andrew, if you can go to the home page of the coaching site, and you can click on display ads. I'm going to give everybody one display ad, small little, like, 2-inch wide, 1-inch deep display ad to target sellers, and one for buyers, and there they are. Okay, so these ads ran in my local paper every single day. Now, why would I run these ads every single day in the paper? Because they worked really, really well. They were inexpensive, and they produced results. Now, you'll notice that the ad on the right, find out what your home is worth online, it worked so well as a classified ad that I decided, well, I should send this out as a postcard. So it was the same message that was in the classified ad in the local newspaper, and I created a postcard, and Andrew is going to show you what the ad looks like. So it's small. That's the actual ad in the newspaper. Okay, about 2 inches wide, 1 inch deep. Ran every single day in the newspaper. Andrea, let's also show the postcard. So that, you can follow my thinking here. Well, if the online home evaluation works really well as a classified ad, I should probably design a direct mail piece with that same message. And it was that same message that was really effective as a direct mail postcard. And I sent out 5,000 a month, and it worked really well. Decided to go with 10,000 a month. Decided to go with 15,000 a month. And then for years and years and years, I sent 20,000 a month. So if you click on the one right in the middle there, Andrew, at the laptop, find out what your home is worth online. This is one version of that postcard. And then on the flip side, so we're driving to a website there, and the flip side of that offers the area home sales report. Okay, and that's the headline that says, find out what homes in your neighborhood are selling for. Okay, so that's a good postcard example, and that's a really good example of a small print ad. And of course, you can go to Facebook. On the home page of the coaching site, Andrew, I believe we've got a couple Facebook examples. And that let's show the one with all the pins on the map, because again, that's that area home sales report. Okay, right there in the middle, if you can make that one bigger. Okay, find out what homes in your neighborhood are selling for. That was the one. So can everybody see that it's just the same message? It runs as a little ad in the classified section of the paper. It runs as a postcard. It runs on Facebook. Once you find out what a winning message, you can use that message in many different media. Okay, so I've given you an example of a small $30 or $40 classified ad, an ad you can run on Facebook with maybe a budget of $10 or $20 a day, and a postcard that you could send via direct mail. But
I have a follow-up question regarding the postcards. Now, when we send out the postcards, is it better to send them out to like around just sold homes, or should we just pick a farm?
It doesn't matter. You should pick an area that has lots of sales. It doesn't matter that you sold one in the area. Well, you want to find streets that have the highest sales, and that's why the real estate statistics program will help you identify what streets in your area have the highest turnover. That's where you want to send your postcards.
Okay.
All right, I hope that helps out. I've got a chat question I want to address. This is from Mark. Mark, and I hear this a lot, Mark's saying, well, does this online home evaluation offer still work well in 2015? Yeah, it does. It'll even work well in 2016. And Mark, I think I know where you're going with this. What I hear from many realtors is, well, Craig, maybe you don't understand, like there's Zillow and all these places we compete with. Look, we know that Zillow is popular because sellers can enter their address into Google and, boom, the Zillow comes up and it will tell the seller what their property is worth. The reason Zillow is so popular is because this is a good offer. And I'm not suggesting that sellers won't, Google their address and go to Zillow and get information on what their home's worth there. They'll do that, but they'll also respond to your ads. Okay, so it's not like they're not going to do all this research. The biggest fear the buyer has, for example, is missing out on a property. That's why our ads work well, right? Because they're searching everywhere for information. Same thing with sellers. Sellers want to make sure that they're selling their home for the most amount of information, amount possible. So they're going to be researching. They're going to be online. They're going to be offline. And all we can hope for is that we're getting the seller prospect or the buyer prospect to respond to our ad as well. But because I'm going to teach you how to do a really good job with the universal callback script starting tomorrow, but how to follow up with them, what to do and say, and compelling the buyers and sellers to meet with you and sign a contract, well, then you don't care how many other realtors are also chasing them because you've already got them signed to a contract. But I pretty much know how you guys think by now, and a lot of your thoughts we need to address. So some of your preconceptions are that the Proctor program costs a lot of money in marketing. No, the most expensive ads you'll ever run are the ads that don't work. So let's quickly figure out what works for you. And every time you run an ad that works, you're going to make way more than what it costs. Okay, or I need to have a big team to do the Proctor program. No, not true. Eventually you may want a big team because you generate so many leads, you may want to delegate some of that business. Or that some of this marketing is not going to work here in 2015, or that print advertising no longer works, or direct mail no longer works. All I'm saying is let the marketplace dictate what you're going to continue doing. Okay, don't decide for the marketplace. Okay, I'm teaching you all these things for specific reasons. They work. I'm never going to lead you down a garden path where things don't work. And we're not just talking about these ideas and concepts and methodologies working for me. They've worked for thousands of realtors before you, and yes, even here in 2015. So look, we're going to wrap it up. We've been at this now, well, for too long, I guess. I apologize for going a bit overboard. The first couple sessions, I usually do. Just want to make sure everyone gets their questions answered. But we're at this again tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. on the West Coast, 11 a.m. on the East Coast for our role play. Hope all of you can join me. And then again, the same time, but on Friday morning for the ad clinic. You guys have been great here today. Thanks for being with us and being part of the coaching program. But we're out of time for today. That concludes today's session. Take care and have a good evening.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a wonderful evening.